when you're a student from China, like you find yourself alone. So yeah, there was someone who recently wrote their like Zambian licensing exams, and they were telling me how the doctors were like telling that particular person like, you if I ever learn sickle cell. And then I'm thinking, and then I'm remembering that we learn things like Kawasaki disease, which I've never really seen here. So you find. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Precious, and I'm back again with another video. And yeah, today's video was requested by Linus. She actually has a channel. Check her out. I'll leave her descriptions in the description box below. And yeah, guys, so check her channel out. She talks about amazing things to do with life. But yeah, so she requested a video on like challenges we face, like, you know, studied in China, coming to rotate in Zambia and all that stuff. So yeah, if it's your first time here, please subscribe. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay, so like before I go into the video, I just want to put a disclaimer out there. Like, honestly, I love rotating in Zambia. I actually wanted to rotate in Zambia, like from first year. Like my whole goal was to study medicine in China, then come to rotate in Zambia. So basically I'm living what I really wanted, like my dream, and I've enjoyed rotating in Zambian hospitals. I've learned so much from Zambian doctors. I feel like we've got so many knowledgeable doctors, and I've learned so much. I've been privileged to I've rotated in at least 3 different hospitals. The first hospital was like quite short, 2 weeks, but the fact that I've rotated in 3 different hospitals, and through all the hospitals, like I have been like I've learned something, and it's something that I actually wanted to do, was to rotate in Zambia. So I've met amazing people. I've met amazing doctors. Like today, the doctor I was with almost made me cry. I was at the verge of tears, but I still learned so much from him, and I was happy to like meet him because it was my first time today really being around him. So that said, definitely there are challenges, and because I wanted to get like my other classmates' perspectives, those who are like rotating in Zambia as well. So I've never rotated in China, so I really don't have anything to compare it to. The only place I've ever rotated, the only hospital I've ever gone as a medical student, is here in Zambia. So I don't have much to compare it to. Like, no, the other places like this, what was like, it's like I don't have much to compare it to. But what I did is I asked opinions from 2 classmates. The other one has also never rotated in China, but the other one has. So whatever I say is just not me alone before you attack me. It's from like some other people. I asked for that post input. In today's video, I'm basically talking about challenges that students who probably study in China and then come to come to the rotation in Zambian hospitals, like what challenges do they face? So that's what we're going to be tackling today. So as I mentioned, I have opinions from like different people, so don't bash me. If you can't relate, like let us know your experience down below. So number 1 is loneliness. So when you're coming from China, like some people rotate as a group, like from their schools, but then there are people like me currently. I feel like I've faced this one so much, especially in the past 2 weeks. I'm currently rotating in pediatrics, and then I have like the Zambian students are on holiday. The other Zambian students are also having exams, so it's just like me. I don't know, the other students from China are just going back to their countries, most of them, because some are like international students in Zambia. And then people just like took New Year's break, and I decided not to take a New Year's break. Kind of regretting it now, because it's really been hard. Like when you're a student from China, like you find yourself alone. Sometimes unless maybe you have got your friend who you study together with in China, then you came to do rotations together. But then yeah, basically for me, most of my classmates are at another hospital, and I'm at another hospital. So that's been a challenge I believe some students face. It's loneliness, because from other Zambian universities, they come in groups. It's at least maximum groups of, you know, over 5 people. So it means when you're rotating, you've got your peers. When you're being asked questions, you can balance it among your peers. But then there is us, like for me today, I was being hammered all the questions and I was alone. I was almost crying, like, bruv. I'm telling the doctor, take it, I'm alone. Like, and you want me to answer all the questions. Like, if I don't know the answer, I don't know the answer. But yeah, that's like some of the challenges that you would find rotating as a student from China in Zambia, it's loneliness. You mostly find yourself alone if you do not have a friend to rotate with, because we are not in groups. We apply alone to a hospital, so that means you rotate on your own. But unless you've got, some close friends of yours who you've come together and you like want to do things as besties or buddies. But then if you don't have, like for me, you find yourself alone, and yeah, it sucks sometimes. Actually, it sucks all the time being alone. And sometimes you might meet other people from other schools, but then your logbooks are different, and even if you want to rotate together, it's just not compatible. So yeah. Number 2 is adjusting to Zambian methods. I feel like I've talked about this before. Like, one of the challenges we face, like adjusting, like coming to the Zambian system, is that there are some Zambian methods, basically, that they use that we don't learn about. Number 1 would be just even their ways of categorizing things. Like studying in China, we used Chinese books. So you find sometimes the books that they use here, the categories, the way they want things classified is a bit different. So sometimes it's not because you don't know. Like, oh yeah, there was someone who recently wrote their like Zambian licensing exams, and they were telling me how the doctors were like telling that particular person, like, you have the information, but it's just not like put together. So the way like the doctors want us to have our information put together, that's not the way like we are taught in China. So you find most of the times it becomes very difficult. And under the same Zambian methods, there is also like one of my classmates who actually rotated in China before she came to do her rotations here. She was like some of the surgical methods are different. Like what we learned in China, when you come here, sometimes maybe because of certain things, you find it's not the same as the way we learned it in China. So when you come here, you're just like, what is this? So those are some of the challenges that we face, like when you come and rotate. And it's same simple, but guys, it can be tough, because then on the one it looks like you don't know anything, and the thing is, it's not like I don't know, it's just that my information is not packaged the way you want it to be packaged. Another one is some diseases like are not taught in depth. Like today, one of the doctors, because I was in sickle cell clinic today, so the doctor was asking me, did they teach you sickle cell in China? And I was trying to like now remember my lectures if I ever learned sickle cell. And then I'm remembering that we learn things like Kawasaki disease, which I've never really seen here. So you find that sometimes like some of the things that you learn in China are not common here. So you find like you don't know certain things. For example, very specifically HIV and malaria. I feel like we have them so much here compared to in China. So you find in China some of those things, no one, like they don't teach us in depth to the point where you're supposed to know them. And then when you come here, it's like they've got a whole textbook just for that, or whole guidelines just for that. And in China, you never learn that. So from here, you have to start like from here. And there are many other things that are common here that are not common in China, or things that are common in China are not common in here. And I remember when I was going to study medicine in China the first time, those are some of the things that people told me as things I should think about before I went to study medicine in China. They were like, Precious, consider that some of the things that the equipment that you might find in China you might not find here, or vice versa, or some of the diseases. And when they were telling me when I was going, it was just like, you just don't want me to go. Like, I feel like that's what happens when someone tells you or gives you some kind of advice. Like, it's very hard for people to, like, including myself, to like pick out the positive out of the advice. Most of the time it's just like, you just don't want me to do this. But it's just a fact. That's one of the things about studying medicine in China. So another one is language. Now someone else can be like, Precious, really? Yeah, it can be language. Like, okay, yes, even in China there is a challenge of language, but I mentioned again, I've never rotated in China, but I know I would have had the challenge of language because my Chinese isn't on point. I barely even speak it now that I don't need to practice it. But like, yeah, one of the challenges I personally have faced this even in Zambian hospitals is the language, because there are so many languages in Zambia. So it's not that you don't know. Like for me, I know like one local tongue, although I'm not fluent in it, but I like try to communicate with the patients through that. So if they don't know that language, then it's like hard for me to click, because you find others, they don't even know English. Like they only know maybe their mother language, and if you don't know it, it's like really hard. Like you might be able to get a rough draft when clicking, but it's not everything that you will get. There are certain questions you will not be able to ask, and you fail to communicate if you've got no translator. And then another This one I like got it from like a number of people when I asked. It's segregation. So one of the challenges that we face as people who've studied in China and come to rotate in Zambia is, yeah, segregation. Like there are some, and it's not all, but there are some doctors where when you just mention like I'm from China, it's just like done. I'm not longer interested in talking to you. I don't want, and because of how the different kinds of people that have come from China, the different mannerisms, behavior, some like doctors have reached a point where not all, but some doctors have like categorized. They've categorized students. Like if you are from China, they've just put this label on you according to what they've seen from others. So there's some segregation of some sort when you go like to even certain doctors. Like even I have faced it to some degree where some doctors, like when they just tell them that you're from China, it's like they kind of even lose interest. Sometimes like they're just like, okay. And I've also met doctors where they will teach you, like they'll still teach you and say, look, at the end of the day, you're still going to come and work here and still save patients in our country. So like I'll still give you the information I need to give you. But then there are some doctors where when you just say I'm from they're like done. Like they'll not even tell you to your face, but just their body language, the attitude, like just tells you everything. And from other people, they also say they experience it from students. I've rarely, maybe it's because I don't really pay attention. Like if a student didn't talk to me, I'm just like, okay, fine, I move on with my life. But yeah, other people complain that even from students they get that, like when they just say they're from China, so it's like okay, because as much, I think we've talked about this and I've talked about this in another video, like when you're rotating you still need your fellow students to help you, especially when you're coming from China, to combat some of the challenges like where things are different, information is different, like so attending their lectures helps a lot and all that stuff. So sometimes if then they're just like getting you yeah, it's kind of hard then. But I personally have never really faced that one. So these are some of the these are some of the challenges that are faced by us students who are rotating in Zambia. Yeah, sometimes you just have to be strong and keep going. I think that's one thing I've really learned through my internship. It's how you just have to persevere and like keep going, because sometimes it gets tough, y'all. Like I won't like, it gets tough. Like even today I was just thinking about it. I was like, sometimes you just have to keep going. So anyway, I think there are so many other maybe challenges people face, but those are basically the ones I was able to get and hear from my fellows. I hope you enjoyed this video. Linus, thank you so much for suggesting this video. Happy New Year, guys. And I'll continue saying, if there's anything that you'd like to see from me, just put it down in the comments in the comment section below, and I will definitely work on a video. Yeah, please excuse my lighting. Like I changed settings, like yes, so I'm having a hard time. When I change settings, I mean like physically. So I'm having a hard time adjusting my lighting. I noticed that my last video was kind of dark, so I'm still trying to figure out the best way of getting good videos with good lighting. But thank you so much for bearing with me, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.